the issues that we want to work on is Coco's behavior when people come to the door. She gets overexcited. Coco. So yeah. So we have the guardians. One of the guardians' daughters is going to help us out, and so make sure I'm in the camera. They're in the frame. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show how we can claim the area around the door and control the situation before we open it. So let's go ahead and we'll go this way. I'm going to have you wait about right here. Or actually about right here so you can shoot this. And you're just going to watch me. You might want to, let me pull out a chair for you. It'll probably be a little bit easier to get everything in if you're sitting down. All right. So I'm not rushing to the door. I'm just walking casually. Now the dog is in front of me. So if I open the door while she's here, I'm assisting her. So what I'm doing is I'm not letting her by me, and I'm taking the territory. Notice how the barking is stopped? Now I'm keeping my hips and shoulders pointed at the dog. Actually, let's move her back. There we go. Now, because you have a two-way go here, it makes it a little bit more challenging. She can go around. I'm going to move her back this way. I'm not going to move her back all the way. There we go. So I call this reverse herding. So I'm going to establish the boundary as this line right here on the tile. So now that I've got her where I want, I'm going to take one step back and pause. If she crosses the line, I rush towards her. And I also make a hissing sound. There we go. She sat down. Now we saw how she did when I arrived for the session, so we should have a different response now. And notice the energy has changed. So she sat down. Now when I get to the door, if I just open it right away, she's going to freak out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break it down into individual steps. I'm going to click the deadbolt, and when I do, she probably is going to come up. See how she got up? This is a sound that precedes the door opening. So I want to help her practice that one step until she can handle it, and then I go to the next step. Then I take a step backwards and I pause and read the dog. This is the line she can't cross. As long as she stays beyond that side of the line, I don't care if she's barking or what she's doing, she just can't cross the line. So now, she came forward, but she stopped. So now I go to the handle. So she's able to process that. So now I'm going to open it and crack. Now I'm going to step in front of it as I open it. She hasn't crossed the line, but that was preemptive. So try not to react until she crosses the line. I usually have about 6 inches away from the line. I make the hissing sound. And once she crosses, I rush at her until she crosses it. And the next step is to actually do this sound. Because this sound also precedes the door opening. Now I'm going to open it and invite her to come in. I'm going to step in front so the guest is going to stay behind me. Come on in. So do you notice we have a little bit different energy than when I arrived for the session about a half an hour ago? This is probably different than what you normally deal with. Because I'm controlling the situation, and because we had some distance and I controlled it before I opened the door, I corrected her and achieved what I wanted before I let her in. So now, because I've taken over security, that puts me in more of a leadership position, and I'm dictating what she's allowed to do, and because there's more distance, she's able to control herself better. Just like us, when we're a kid, the closer we get to Christmas, the more intense those Christmas gifts are. But, you know, if we can help the dog to achieve more control, even though I see something I really want, I have to still behave? And when the appropriate time comes, then I'm allowed to interact. So she's coming up. I only disagree when she crosses the line. So sometimes you have a floor. Now this floor plan is a little bit unusual because you have a two-way go. Normally I would make it like where the tile transitions to the wood, something that's easy for them to see. But if it's all wood, you can get some painter's tape and just mark down a box about 8 or 10 feet away from the door. And if she crosses that line, you rush at her until she gets across the line, and then you stop. She can come right to the edge, but she puts one pinky toenail over it, you rush at her until she gets outside of the box. Okay. So this way, she's able to control herself. We have much better interaction. And if you have a guest that's not a dog person, the guest can come over, you can have a conversation. The guest maybe drops off a dish, and then the guest leaves, and the guest doesn't have to get touched by the dog at all. And as you can see, again, we have a much different energy and much more in control dog than what we had when I first arrived for the session. So this is how we can control the door and control the door greeting and help the dog develop some self-control.